Are here in the studio. Ibrahim Alhassan is here. Ibrahim Alhassan is the head of the political desk here at the EIB network with a lot of portfolios, which I can't finish mentioning if I start. IB, good morning.
Good morning, Lantam.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Nice Friday.
Yeah, so Fridays are always happy days. At least, even if you'll be on duty over the weekend, it will be a little eased up than a regular working day. So Fridays are good.
Indeed, Fridays are good. Also here in the studio is the managing editor for the Custodian newspaper, Awudu Mahama. Good morning.
Good morning, Lantam.
How are we today?
Oh, we are managing.
Looking forward to the weekend?
Yeah. Well, we hope things are better for us.
Okay.
We need good health and
of course we need
some
good
cash.
health. Oh, the cash is very important.
Yeah.
The cash bit is very, very important.
Yeah.
Also here in the studio is Kenneth Kuranchie. He's managing editor of the Daily Searchlight newspaper. Uncle Ken, good morning.
Good morning, Lantam.
Welcome.
Thank you, my brother.
It's good to see you.
It's good to be here.
So I'm holding the Daily Searchlight newspaper, your newspaper. The big headline is he eligible to contest election 2024 or not? Supreme Court to decide John Mahama's fate. He went to court the first time.
Yes, please.
And your application was not successful.
Yes, please.
And you are returning
Yes, please.
to court.
Yes, please.
So you were in court the other day. What happened? Because we're hearing reports that you were shut down again or something of the sort.
Well, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. Unfortunately, the question you addressed to Lantam was not addressed to me. The issue about weekend.
I would address it to me.
Yes, and you as well.
Yeah.
I normally do a lot of bulk distribution work of my website that vent newspapers in the course of the week. So if you're anywhere across the world, you want to buy a Ghanaian newspaper, you can go to GhanaNewsstand.com. I vend the advert every Monday to Friday, and it's quite tedious work. So when the Friday sets off like this, I'm happy about the Saturday and Sunday that is coming because I'm going to rest.
Interesting.
Well, the first time with the Mahama suit.
Yes.
What happened exactly was this. I think this is the last time I will explain. Was that when you go to the Supreme Court for the constitutional matter, there are three processes that constitute the writ. The first thing is the writ itself for the reliefs. The second thing, you must have an affidavit that sets out the facts and the cases and things that you intend to submit. And the third thing, it must come with a statement of case. Now, the statement of case, you have 20 days, I believe, to file the statement of case. So you can file the writ and the supporting affidavit, and then you have time to sit down, put together your legal arguments, your facts, your research, and things in the period of 20 days, and file. Now, I had my statement of case ready, but I wanted to work on it and work on it and work on it. So when I went to file, I did not realize that I was 6 days out of time.
The first instance.
First instance, I was 6 days out of time. So I filed all right. We went to the Supreme Court, and then my senior lawyers, Tonelita and the veritable, is a great man, Thaddeus Sorry, raised an issue as to the time frame that it should be knocked out. You see, before we went there, the Supreme Court had decided on a case, I think it concerned Mahama Yarega, and the lawyer in that case was Thaddeus Sorry. And he was 1 day late, 24 hours late, and the Supreme Court knocked him out. So then this lawyer who is coming and quoting his own case before the same Supreme Court and said, when I was 24 hours late, you knocked me out.
Yeah.
This man is 6 days late.
So that's how come.
So the Supreme Court has discretion.
Your own was thrown out.
They could have gone against their own decision, but it would have been so unfair in the Mahama case. So they said, okay, go, but there's liberty to reapply. So they sent me away. Then when they sent me away, I thought it was an opportunity to rework on my statement of case again. So I said, okay, then I'll come back in January. And so we met in court, myself and Mr. Thaddeus Sorry, and said, what's happened to your case? Oh, I'm going to file again in January. So you're going to give me a lot of work. I said, oh, I will come back. So by 1st of February, I was back. Now, Wednesday, What
Yes.
happened on Wednesday?
Yes, you were in court on Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
We're expecting to hear your case.
On Wednesday,
but-
when you are going to court, you have certain normal expectations. The business for today, for that day that had been selected, was that the Attorney General was out of time with filing its own statement of case in response to my own. The Attorney General had, I think, 14 days or so to reply, and he was way out of time. So he had brought a motion to be given leave to file a statement of case in response to me out of time. So that was the business for the day. When I got the hearing notice, I had been preparing an amendment motion to go and amend 2 reliefs on my rate. So I also for them filed a motion to amend the 2 reliefs. I filed a motion, I think last week Thursday or so, to amend. And then we have what we call memorandum of issues. I was expecting that if the Supreme Court was to move very fast, we could then also address the issue of memorandum of issues, because I'm aware that Mr. Tonelita, and then Mr. Tadiosori had already filed their memorandum of issues. So the Supreme Court can go ahead and say, Ken, why have you not also filed the memorandum of issues? Because your people have already done so. So those were the 3 things I expected to happen. When we went to the Supreme Court, the judges in their wisdom realized that there were 2 motions on the docket, the Attorney General's one and my own. But if I were to amend my reliefs and amend my statement of case, it means that the other 3 sides, the other 4 sides, have to also come and amend their statement of case. So they told the Attorney General that let this man move his motion, amend his reliefs, and then you can then work on the whole thing again and bring it. So that was exactly what happened. The Supreme Court has no interest at all in matters that come before it. They have no interest. They are an impartial arbiter. So when you come, if you read some of the reports, I have been ordered. It's as if the Supreme Court believed that what you filed was not enough. So they are not interested. They are not interested. I sent a motion there. In fact, the motion was not due as at the day it was moved. But the Supreme Court realized that they also wanted to save time and save everybody unnecessary work. Don't allow the Attorney General to move, because if you allow him to move, this man's motion will become due in due time. He would move it, and that whole process will become a waste of everybody's time. So allow him to move today, and then they can all come and amend their motion. So that was what happened.
Oh, interesting. So when are you going back?
The Supreme Court says its own time.
Its own time.
Yes, I took the amended reliefs and the amended rate to the registry yesterday. That is what my clerk tells me. And you go back this morning to go for my official copy.
Okay.
So,
all right.
I had up to today to file. So
you still, so in all of this,
I'm a permanson. So
no wonder you were a lawyer.
As soon as they gave me the order, I came home very quickly. We prepared it, and by 12 yesterday, he was there. He worked with them.
Okay.
I think this morning you have a copy of it.
No wonder. So you still believe that President Mahama is not eligible?
He's not eligible. A
to
very
contest.
interesting. I think this is not official. It was by way of commentary that came up in the Supreme Court. One of their leaderships made the point that why don't you leave this retired gentleman to relax? Kofor is relaxing, and these people are in retirement. They are there. So why are you suing them and co? So the Attorney General want to take advantage and say that then John Mahama and President Kofor should be struck off the list. But you see, the employment of the word retired has connotations. So immediately, Tonelita said, no, John Mahama is not retired, though. He's not retired. It has connotations because if you are retired.
If you are retired, interesting. Okay, we'll see how
so
the
it's
case.
an interesting case. We wait.
Yeah.
I have done what I believe to be my national constitutional duty. I've managed to put these issues before some of the biggest brains we have in our country. If they said I should go for it, well and good. If they decide no, I'll be vindicated.
Okay.
But whatever happens, I think I've done what I need to do. I can now relax.
Okay. It's also
We are
been
not
said
going to
that you
comment
are
on this.
you
But
want
just to
comment
say
on
that,
it? Yeah.
just to say that, I am a bit curious. My friend and brother Ken is handling his own case. I have realized that many lawyers, or most lawyers, or almost all lawyers, when they have cases, they get lawyers to
That's true.
to stand.
That's
But
true.
he wants to represent
them.
himself.
But he is representing himself.
true,
I
yes.
I
It's
don't know
allowed.
why. No, it's allowed. I know, but I don't know. I don't know whether it's the man doesn't want to spend money.
You know, he and I, we work in a lot of dark corners together. So he knows that I don't have money. It's a major consideration.
Yes,
I know.
It's a
That's
major,
why you are
it's a
representing
major
yourself.
Probably so.
consideration.
Probably so.
You see, this thing has heavy political connotations. So, like they say, unless you want to be an akukufunu, you don't. So what happens is that, you know, Professor Asari, when he has some of these cases, he finds retired, old, distinguished lawyers because they are akukufunu, they have nothing at stake. So I need to find a lawyer like that.
Oh, okay.
Somebody
So then you are
who does not
representing yourself.
really.
I totally understand.
Someone who has
because
nothing
Professor
to lose.
Dankwa
Yeah.
and co, somebody who
Yeah.
has no axe to grind. Because
Yeah.
you in politics, seeking for a parliamentary seat, and you are handling this type of case.
Yes.
And speaking of that, you are going as an independent
Yes,
candidate
please.
for Okaikwe
North.
Yes, please.
North constituency.
Yes, please.
Why? Member of the MPP, why you left the MPP?
I've left the New Patriotic Party, and it's a permanent decision.
You are not coming back.
I'm not coming back.
Why?
Ever.
Why?
I'm not coming back.
Help us understand.
I-
In 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes.
I think that the party does not live up to what I believe should be the best for the people of Okaikwe North and the best for this nation. You see, Lantam, rules are very important. It is because of rules that you, the four of us, are able to gather here in this studio. Because, see, a lot of expensive equipment in this studio. Anybody at all could have gotten into the studio, taken over. But what is ensuring that we have a beautiful television program this morning are rules and regulations. If you have an organization that deliberately decides not to work with its own rules and regulations, it is not an organization you decide to remain in.
Okay.
Lantam,
we'll see about that.
I think my friend, my brother is so unfair to the New Patriotic Party on this matter. We had this debate a few months ago, myself and him, on this matter. That I do not see. I have seen MPP's constitution. I have the national constitution, the 1990 constitution. I don't see any provision that was breached or has been breached in the matter of Okaikwe North. No, none whatsoever. None. He is here. He has not quoted any provision of MPP's constitution, any provision of 1919 constitution that has been breached.
Can I reply?
That has been breached.
Can I reply?
Because
Yeah, when it's done, you can.
because well, the last time we were here, he talked to people who have been imported from other places to come and contest when they are not qualified. Yeah. And he even cited that one day MPP will bring Burkina Faso to come and say that they should vote. And I'm saying that national constitution does not allow foreigners to vote. And therefore, MPP will not be able to do that. In the matter of the person is alleging that MPP has brought to come and contest who is not from that place. Dokwa, current MP for, what's the name? Ibrahim North.
Yes, Ibrahim North.
That, why? What stops the woman, the lady from contesting Okaikwe North? What provision stops her? What provision stops her? You may raise moral issues and all that, but that is not, why? Who says we are doing morally? We want to elect a pope in this country. If it is a moral issue, nobody probably qualifies to contest elections in this country. But the Constitution gives who is qualified to contest in a particular constituency. There are two things. If you take, for instance, the CI 127 that deals about elections. Look, you either have to be an ordinary resident, or you hail from that area. If me today, I live in Accra here, I go to Lambusie. I have never voted in Lambusie. I've voted in Accra all my time. If today I go to contest in Lambusie, nobody can stop me from contesting because that's where I come from. That is it. So you have to check whether the person who has come to register there is resident there or not. If he's not resident there, then you raise issue. He has not told us that. In the matter of coming from one constituency to another, I cited the case of Kenjirasan, Honorable Kenjirasan, who contested in 1992 in Ayawaso West Wogon. Whilst he was still an MP, He went and contested NDC's primaries in Volta region. South Tongo, so yes, I think South Tongo. I'm not sure about the constituency. But in Volta region, once he was MP for West Wogon, he contested primaries of NDC and he won. In 1996 elections, he became an MP for that constituency. So there's a precedent in this country.
Okay.
Yes.
Uncle Ken, what's your response to that?
Okay. When you pick the nomination forms that we filed, the first requirement on it is your name. You must provide your name. The second requirement is your voter ID card. You must provide your voter ID card. The third requirement is your party card. Now, there's an interesting correlation between the national voter ID card and the party card itself. When you present the party card, it shows you where you vote, and it will link you directly to a place in the constituency. There were 3 candidates on the ballot who filed nomination papers. They did not provide their party card, and they did not provide their voter ID card. If you don't provide those 2 requirements, your nomination form is not full, and the party is not supposed to accept it.
That issue was waived. The issue of party card was waived. Before filing.
Wait. You see, wait. It is not. If you set rules, and then everybody's obeying the rule, that is why I'm saying that I don't want to belong to that land. If you set rules, everybody is supposed to obey the rules, and other people obey the rules, and other people decide not to obey the rules, then that is the rule of the jungle. I don't want to be in a jungle. So if you don't have those 2 documents before you file and nominations close, your document is supposed to be rejected. 3 people didn't meet these aspirations on the document. Now, the National Constitution says that you must be resident in that area the past 5 years out of the previous 10 years. The party itself says that you must have... No, the National Constitution is 5 years. The National Constitution is 5 years. The party itself says that you must have contributed to the party in the constituency for 2 years. These people I'm talking about, some of them came in July of that year, when we were voting 2023, and some came in February. They have never paid party dues in the constituency, never paid party dues in the constituency. Now, you say that fairness, even out of fairness, if somebody contributes for all this time, and the day comes for us to look for officers, and then in February of that year, people who have never paid dues, in July of that year, people who have never paid dues, they come with documentation that is not fully set, which therefore requires that you reject their nomination. You accept them, and then they win. I'm saying that from that experience, I don't think that there is any need for us to keep on talking and say, oh, it's a party matter, blah, blah, blah. There are laws in this country. You yourself, apart from the national constitutional laws, you yourself set laws and regulations. Obey your own laws. Otherwise, we live in a jungle, and frankly,
you don't want to be part of that jungle.
I will not be in that jungle.
Okay, well, we wish you all the best, Uncle Ken, in your endeavor as an independent candidate. Let's get into the rest of the issues, shall we? Let's get on to the rest of the issues. We've been talking about the registration exercise which the EC is currently conducting, which has been fraught with all kinds of network challenges, and it's been quite difficult for people to get themselves onto the electoral roll because of that. Prior to this registration exercise, the EC had told us that they are set, they are prepared, everything is ready, there aren't going to be any hitch-ups. And then we get to the very first day, there are network challenges. And, 3 days into the registration exercise, the EC is resorting to registering some people offline because of these same network challenges, and it's raised a lot of eyebrows. Ibrahim, let me start with you on this particular subject matter and all the issues that are arising as a result of this limited 21-day voter registration exercise.
Well, so I'll be very snappy on this, and because I think the points are belabored. The EC had opportunity to prepare enough for this. This is not the first limited registration exercise that we are experiencing. Before the district level elections, there was a limited registration exercise. The problems are the same. Network challenges, issues, this time around, issues of electricity supply, even though we're told generators had been procured and put on standby. We still had reports of power challenges in some registration centers. You talk about malfunctioning BVRs, or BVR, but that's biometric voter registration kits. We thought at least those lessons had been learned. And then we went for the district level election, where people had to wait and vote later in the week. And if you remember, many people who were engaged kept saying, let's hope this doesn't happen on the election day, December 7th, right? So we said that at the limited registration exercise period. We said that at the district level elections. And then we now had an opportunity to conduct another limited registration exercise. The EC had informed all of us through a press conference, Jane Mensah herself, that all was set. A few questions to ask. Was there a test run done at these various registration centers, or the EC decided to just do the test run at its head office, which is in the capital of Accra, which obviously will have a stable internet connectivity as compared to the hinterlands where they are supposed to deploy these gadgets? How come these problems keep recurring? And once again, we've heard people say that, let's just hope this doesn't repeat itself on December 7th. What if it does? Because we've said that 3 times, and here we are, it's repeated itself. Fortunately for us, the EC has 21 days to conduct this exercise. So it can remedy the problems as we go. Reason why 2 days ago, a statement was issued that now all the registration centers should resort to offline registration, offline mode. And Lantam, let's break this down. When we talk about offline, offline means when you get to the station to be registered, the registration center to be registered, your details are taken, your biometric details are taken, you are issued with a card. But there is no system that your data could be uploaded to in real time. So many people will have to be registered. Later, the data will be put on a drive and then uploaded onto the centralized system. In that instant, double registration cannot be checked instantly. They will have to rerun the system again to determine that people registered double or triple or what have you. Another challenge with that is that the data can be corrupted. If you put data, sensitive data of voters on a drive, it can be corrupted. That's one. The other one is that it can be tampered with. Imagine a sensible full registration center. After a day's work or after a week's work, everything is put on a drive. It's supposed to be uploaded. Then somebody hits Control A, delete. It's gone. You have the physical card as Lantam Papanko bearing all your details, but your details are not in the system. It's a possibility because we are registering offline. Unlike online, which will automatically upload your data onto a centralized system. So the EC knows this. That's how come we're making progress. See, you know, the process we have reverted to is no different from the process that Afarijan used. It's no different from the process that Afarijan, but we are supposed to make progress. We're actually spending money procuring biometric voter registration kits. And it's not taking feed. So the least we can do is to get it right. Like I said, my challenge is with the children who have been asked to come home. They were originally supposed to come home for 4 days to register because some of them have turned 18. Now, because of the challenges, GES has had to extend. GES has had to extend the days for them to stay at home, adding 3 extra days, making 7 days. So just because we are empowering our citizens to make the decision as to who becomes our MP, who becomes our president, we are making them sacrifice their education for 7 days. Who does that? Who does that? And like I said, before we came on air, if I just turned 18, the process and how it's going, there will not be motivation for me to go and register. I won't. And I'm not making this up. I won't. Because now I have Ghana card. If I want to engage in any transaction with any financial institution that requires the use of any identity card, I have the Ghana card. So that added advantage for registering to have voter's ID card because you use it for all your bank transactions is no longer existent. The only motivation is that you have the opportunity to choose an MP and choose a president and choose your, what's the name, your assemblyman and unit committee member. To many people, that's not enough motivation. Political parties have had to spend monies. They are busing people. Yes, there's one aspect of the busing that's wrong, and that is here is Klotekole. If you are busing people, bus people from within Klotekole to come and register within the same enclave, that's no problem. You are facilitating because the EC had decided not to go to the people. The people should come to the EC. You have to facilitate the going of the people to the EC. What do I mean by this? EC decided not to go to the people? If the centers were in the communities, directly.
Like the polling stations, if they had decided
Or
to do it at the
electoral
polling
areas.
stations, electoral areas.
If you walk there and the system is down, you come back home, come and eat banku. When you are satisfied, you can walk back there and go and find out. But now that's not the case. Unfortunately for you, if you need a guarantor, 2 of them, your father will have to sacrifice his job, your mother might have to sacrifice her job, they will have to ferry you there. If the whole day you are unable to register and you go back home, that day's work is cost nante. They will have to ferry you back there again. I don't know why we take delight in inconveniencing citizens. Not just this. When you're acquiring passport, same. You're acquiring Ghana card, same. Driver's license, same. It's like we take delight in making things difficult for each other in this country. And you wonder why. Many people talk about money, you see? And then, of course, the fact that there's limited registration exercise. But even that, you can choose some electoral areas that you know. If you look at the data, we undertook census just a few years ago, right? If you look at the census figures, you can tell how many people will turn 18 within a particular enclave. That's how come GESS, students will leave schools and come home and come and register. So, not to belabor the point, there is enough time for the EC to make amends. They should make amends and ensure that this time around, indeed, never again. Otherwise, December 7, if this happens, nobody can save us. And I think we are not sounding an alarm bell enough. Imagine that people queuing and the network is down because you need to be verified. Even if you are verified manually, there must be something that checks that indeed that's you, Lantam Papanko, for you to vote. And we all know the problem with even manual verification, which will not tally with the verification on the biometric verification device. And people will have to be standing in the queue and waiting. How are we going to convince them that they should have patience enough and things will be okay? So let's work on it now. The earlier, the better.
Awudu, what has been your observation?
I have not followed the registration except to observe what people are saying, and because I am registered, I don't have any person who has not registered. I'll tell the person to go and register. But let me make this clear. There's a difference between registration period and voting period, and the type of data that you need for registration is different from the data that you need for voting. You are uploading people's biometrics data into the system, and it comes with its network challenges. Voting is just one simple thing, verification, and you are done. But this one, you are recording people's biometric data. And the volumes that you require are different from voting. So that is why even when every registration, when we have these offline registration, you don't get such problems many times in the main voting on the main voting day. So because they are completely different set of issues.
Address your mind to the district level elections. It was voting. The challenges were during the voting. The district level elections, there were many areas that couldn't vote.
Yeah.
Because of?
Challenges with the biometric verification devices and some other challenges. That's the point we are making.
Yes. But
it's not like
we are
the
talking
exercises
of
are the
offline.
same.
No, we are talking of offline.
Yeah.
We are talking of offline. Offline. And I'm saying that this is not the first time EC is registering offline. It's not the first time. And you see, unless we are saying that EC is deliberately going offline, or they are deliberately sabotaging their own network system, their network. Unless that's what we are suggesting, all the political parties, if that's what they are suggesting, that EC is deliberately sabotaging their own network system to go offline, then they should let us know. They should say it clearly. Otherwise, even Momo, sometimes you go to send your Momo through MTN, Vodafone, they'll tell you there are network challenges. We were talking about, I heard you, Ibrahim, you were on radio talking about ECG and hacking and all that. Wasn't no network challenges that you go to buy your credit?
Yes.
Your prepaid, you go and there are network challenges you cannot buy. These are internet challenges. Why? Why will you blame EC for internet challenges?
Because he selected
He selected what?
The provider.
What of those who provide the network themselves when they have challenges? What of MTN? Do they select people for their internet services? Vodafone, do they select Telecel people to provide internet services?
This is a special exercise, and it's a very crucial exercise.
Internet challenges look, the whole world, even the advanced countries, they are sometimes internet challenges. Even the most sophisticated economies, there are internet challenges.
They are resolved
So let's talk of how to resolve the challenges. That's what we should be talking about, not blaming that EC should have known. Why? You prepare something and when the thing happens, you say you blame the person. You think that they have not prepared that. That is why even in their statement, they said that they could be offline because there are places that they may have internet challenges. Didn't they state that in their statement?
But now it's general offline, everywhere offline. I've sent you that statement.
So internet challenges, that is the thing. So we should look at, okay, let's EC also come out to tell us the network, the internet services, service provider they have procured. Yeah. And if it is the network, then we better warn them not to seek the services of that company again. Yeah. That's what we should be doing. But I am very confident that the numbers, because EC is also using the population census figures to be able to know which people will be turning 18 by this time. And that's why they are quoting about 630 or there are 1,000 thereabout for them to capture. And it will surprise you that within these few days, we may even capture more than the number that they have anticipated.
Exactly.
And you see, one thing about voter registration, people are talking of offline uploading and all that. There are many processes when they register. When you are registered, political parties, if you are, they are talking of missing BVDs and all that. Look, if you're a political party, maybe the offline may change the system. At the end of every registration, you know, there's a printout for every political party. Even if it is offline, you record the number of people who have registered at the various political thing. At the end of it all, they give you the total number of people who have registered at that particular center. It's given to all political parties, whether online or offline. The number of registrants are given to all political parties. So if you're a political party, you should be able to record the number that has been registered at the end of the period, voting period, so that you know the number of the registered voters in the current one. So if they are adding a particular number to that, then you know that this is a total number of people in the register for election. Mind you, after this there will be exhibition, voter exhibition. After voter exhibition, they will give all political parties, how do you call it?
Soft copy.
Soft copy. They call it, before the final one.
Okay, provisional
register. They will give you to look into it, iron out all the places that you think that there are problems. You will alert the EC. You have an APAC meeting, they'll iron out all these differences. And then there will be a final register, and that final register will be given to political parties. That's what they will all use to work on. In the matter of busing people, people say people are busing people to constituencies to register. Look, political parties do it all the time. If I am a candidate, I'm standing as an MP for Lambusi, and I know people are from my area who are in Accra and they want to go and register. It is my duty to facilitate the people to go and register there. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no law. Except that if you are taking the people there, the people, if they are not qualified to register there, that's a problem. But if they are qualified to register and you facilitate their movement to that place to register, there's no law stopping you from doing that. That must be made clear. So this buzzing of people are protesting. Why? The first thing is in person, as the law stipulates, is a person resident there? Does the person live there? They talk of ordinary residents. Does he come from the place? These are the requirements. If all these requirements are met and you facilitate the movement of the person to that place, there's no labalu about it at all.
Okay.
There's no question of whether the person qualifies or not,
All
or
right,
whether the person cannot be transported to the place.
Uncle Ken, let me bring you in now.
Well, many years ago, I formed an organization that was targeted at making the Electoral Commission as transparent as possible. Where we are today, it should be possible for this whole building to be made of glass, so that when somebody is walking on the street,
You see the person.
you can see the person. Yeah. It is necessary. I just heard this issue about generators and procuring a company to provide internet services. I find those two.
I don't know about that. I don't know about proof.
I find those two.
It is IB's.
But how will the EC get access to connectivity without offering contract to the service provider?
It may be the normal service provider. It may be Vodafone, Telecel, MTN.
Just a moment.
I'm not an IT person.
Just a moment. On all my phones, I use MTN services.
Yeah.
In my offices, I use Vodafone broadband.
Telecel now.
That's a service. That's a service provider you have opted for.
Modernize myself.
Yes, Telecel.
I use Telecel broadband.
Yeah.
Now, if the devices are connected by broadband, they would require connectivity using Telecel or MTN broadband connectivity tools.
Exactly.
Yes.
Beyond that, I would find it very problematic if the Electoral Commission were to say that it engaged in an individual contract with a service provider to provide specific internet services for its facilities. Outside the Electoral Commission were to say that it contracted a specific service provider. Are you following me?
Yes.
I'm saying that I use Telecel broadband facilities.
Yeah.
So, for the sake of uniformity, the Electoral Commission can say that these facilities are going to use either MTN connectivity processes or Telecel connectivity processes. I think that those are the two providers with the biggest backbone in Ghana. You are most probably likely to get their services across board anywhere in the country. But so if beyond that they were to say that they found it necessary to contract somebody specifically, I would say let us look at the necessity for that argument and whether money is not just being an opportunity is not just being made for somebody to take away our money.
That is if they have done that.
And that is if they have done that. That is if they have done that. Now you see, our problems as a nation sometimes are so basic and so worrying that if you are just opening the main centers and you say that you now find it necessary to procure generators, then you would ask yourself why the necessity for generators, and then they need to find money to fund that exercise. Because you see, our main electricity providers, you have some in the north and some down here. Our main electricity providers should be able to give us assurance that within 12 hours, certain 12-hour periods, we can be able to keep the lights going, so that we can also then save ourselves this expense of finding it necessary to buy actual generators that we use for maybe 20-day periods and then put somewhere for the rest of the period, for months on end, sometimes for years on end. You not go back to these generators. And then when you even find it necessary to go back to them, some of them may not be working. I think if that is the case, if that is what has happened, it is such an unnecessary expenditure that we have no business lumping the people of Ghana with. And that is why many years ago, we formed that organization asking for the Electoral Commission to create what we call the glass house effect. It's a glass house. Anybody person can look at the Electoral Commission. Now the transparency. Now the Electoral Commission, it is time that we told the Electoral Commission that it is not for itself. It is for the people of Ghana. So it has a duty, a responsibility to, as much as possible, make its activities so transparent and seek as much consensus from NDC, from MPP, from the smallest player to make sure that there's general acceptability. Now you see, this nation, beyond the petty problems that come, it's a nation that has decided that it will not apply common sense. Simple common sense in how it does these things. Because common sense will save us so much money. When I give birth to a baby today, I know for a fact that if the baby reaches adulthood, the baby would vote. Is that not so? Is that not so? Now we have an organization in this country called Births and Deaths. Births and Deaths. When they started talking about national Ghana card, I have raised this issue and raised this issue, and we have spent hundreds of millions of dollars or cedis on Ghana card. When all that we had to do was work on the Births and Deaths Authority. Is it an authority now?
Registry.
It's still a registry. Because we like naming things authorities in this country.
It's a registry.
Work on that institution. Have it in every village. Digitalization, but it's not in every village. Have it in every village.
Digitalized and biometric.
Have it in every village, so that when you are born today, you are entered into some type of public system. And then we track you. 18 years, you're automatically due with a voter ID card.
Sure.
That way, NDC and MPP have no reason to say that this person
is 18
was
or 16 or
is a
15.
Burkinabe.
But that's the plan. That's the idea for this whole digitalization drive.
Yeah,
that
so
we're
you're-
working on. That will get to a point where we can actually do that, right?
Now it is for us to work on that process and for us to say that agree. Because the problem I'm having is that even when that project matures, MPP, depending on who is in power at that time, somebody will accept, somebody will oppose. We seem not to be able to reach consensus on certain things that are so national. And then we also have this penchant of this habit of seeking to score limited political advantage over long-term goals that will take the nation forward. Classic example is the institution we set up to do the so-called Ghana card. That institution, if we had invested in the birth and death registry, that institution would not have been necessary. Only that it would have taken time. You understand? It would not have been 4 years.
Right.
So we need to, as far as I'm concerned, we need to go back. If you were doing the proper thing, we should have opened every single polling center in our nation. Because of voting day, we opened these polling centers. Is that not the case? So we open them up. Because it is closer. Yeah. And it's also better to monitor. Because you see, the people with the means to send monitors there, the monitors will live in the community. And then the EC officers, some of them will come in the community. This issue of busing, we know our neighbors and their children, and it's closer and more convenient and that sort of thing. You see, and then the issue of busing. As I talk to you, players are in heavy battle because you are going to take them from Ayawaso to
Kumbungu.
to Kumungu.
Yes.
The person too wants the vote at Ayawaso.
Yeah.
So they are doing all manner of players. You go there and people have their macho men and laggards and what have you. As far as I'm concerned, a very, very, very unnecessary thing and expenditure and suffering we have decided to impose on ourselves when all that we have to do is decide collectively, nationalistically, that we shall do the proper thing. Somebody lives in Accra. He thinks that for whatever reason, he comes from Lambusi.
Yes.
He wants to go to Lambusi
And
to
register.
go and register.
Yes.
You should go to Lambusi and register.
Yes. Yeah.
The moment you have coordinated effort, my worry is that somebody will pick somebody from Togo
Oh yeah.
and bring the person.
You cannot do that.
You can do that.
You cannot
can
do
do
that.
that. You can do that.
You cannot do that.
You
No, you
can-
see,
you can-
people,
you
I
can
have
do-
told you my experience. Look, you cannot do that. How
You
can you
do
bring
that.
somebody from Togo?
You can do that.
I am saying
You
that.
can do
How
that.
can you
You
do
can
that?
do
I am
that.
saying that if
Speak
I
to-
am a candidate,
Speak to
Yeah.
speak
speak to who?
the people who experienced some of the constituencies along the Togo line where they were voting 150,000 numbers, Ketu and those things, and they will tell you their experience. It can cost you an election.
Oh, that one.
And
That was a different matter.
to help you, the challenge, and I understand what you're saying, Claire. The challenge is that once the registration is taking place at the EC's office,
Yes.
there is no neighborliness. I don't know who is in there, but if it's taking place in my area,
The
I know
constituency.
everybody in there.
Everybody.
And
My street-
nobody from Togo can come
my-
and say,
my-
I live here. I know you don't live here.
Because,
My
because of
understanding.
my nature.
Yeah.
Because of my nature. A lot of the people on my street, they know me, I know them. But my wife is much more conversant. She talks to everybody.
Exactly.
She talks
So
to
someone
everybody.
like that will know.
Somebody like that will know. And when it's taking place, some of these people are curiosity seekers.
Yeah.
They just go there and watch.
Just go and observe.
And with the,
This person doesn't live in
Yes,
Lantam, we
it's a
must put on
protection we
record.
all can give ourselves.
We must put
But
on
the,
record.
The EC says that the last time they were doing this registration before the assembly elections, you go there and our young people, they have to sit down in queues upon queues upon queues. There's stress.
Lantam, there are two different types of registration. We have the mass registration and limited registration.
I understand.
It is a mass registration that is sent to every polling center.
We get it.
Limited registration has never been every polling center in this country.
No. It's
Selected-
been sent further than what Jim Mensah is sending. That's the point. The centers have been many more than what Jim Mensah is doing.
You are
That's on
here
record.
talking about
Yes,
economy.
yes,
Your
yes.
economy is down.
Oh,
There's
you
no
see?
money.
You see? When it comes to
sometimes
these
you,
things,
you
yeah.
want to appropriate and
funds.
Exactly.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
he has not complained about not having funds to do
In fact,
it.
the
They
electoral,
have not.
the electoral
Yes, they have
commission,
not.
Yeah, they have made savings. They
the
told
electoral
us.
commissioner actually announced that the cost of registration or the cost of enfranchising the voter under their administration has been cut in half or something.
for cost of voting.
No,
But,
but yeah,
but
that's
this
all,
is
yeah.
part of cost of
Yeah,
voting.
they save over
Anyway,
$90
so-
million.
so-
So,
It's
I mean,
cost
we're
of
entering day 4 of the limited voter registration exercise, and all of these challenges are coming up. We'll see
Everybody will be
how
captured.
all of that
Everybody
plays out,
who needs to be registered
and how the
will be
EC would
registered.
move forward and deal with the issues
Oh.
that I've read
Much ado about nothing.
its head. Let's move on to our next issue. So
These
let's
political
talk about,
parties will ensure that
let's
all
talk
those
about
eligible
the
to register will
President, His
register. You mark
Excellency
it.
Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and his legacy, because he's on record to have said, as he is about to exit office, he cannot leave his office in the hands of the man whom he beat in elections, which is John Dramani Mahama. Because if he leaves his office in the hands of John Mahama, essentially John Mahama is going to work against and destroy everything that he has built. Essentially, his legacy is at stake. And so Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the one that Ghanaians should be considering and voting for so that they can come and continue the legacy that he has left behind. So it has raised the question as to what is the legacy of President Akufo-Addo. Well, John Mahama believes that the legacy of President Akufo-Addo is a legacy of corruption, joblessness, bad economy, and a host of other negative things. And it is something that he cannot protect. And so he says, of course, I'll not protect your legacy. Awudu, I'll begin with you on this particular one. The legacy of President Akufo-Addo. And the fact that John Mahama says that it is no legacy worth protecting, and so he will not protect it.
Yes.
Let me begin with you.
Corruption.
Well, that's what John Mahama is saying. He says Akufo-Addo's legacy is a legacy of corruption,
Akufo-Addo's, I am not sure President Akufo-Addo's legacies that he's talking about are what John Mahama is talking about. I am not sure. Because you cannot set your own questions and decide to answer them and say that you are writing an exam. Some questions will have to be set for you to answer by somebody, a body, to show that you are answering, you are actually doing an exam. You said your own questions and you are answering, you are saying that you are. Who said, President Akufo-Addo said his legacies are corruption and how do you call it? List them for me. Corruption, arrogance, unemployment, and all that.
I think there's a positive and a negative aspect to the point that you are raising.
Yes.
You can choose to set the question this way.
Yes.
What are the legacies of Akufo-Addo?
Yes.
I straight away free SHS.
So I'm coming to that. I am coming to that.
We'll come to all of that.
I will come to all of that. I am saying that he has said his own legacies that he seems to be Akufo-Addo's legacies. Akufo-Addo has not said that his legacy is corruption. He didn't say his legacy is unemployment. He didn't say his legacy is arrogance. He didn't say, name them. You have said your own legacy and said that you cannot protect those things. By the way, who says that if it is corruption, former President Mahama will come out of it clean? If it is unemployment, who says he'll come out of it clean? If it is about arrogance, who says he'll come out of it clean? There's no president who has used the word baloney in this country before. He has used it on people, his political opponents. Arrogance. Somebody who said that nobody, if you are not a president, you cannot advise him. What speaks of that? So, look, the man has said his own questions. What I understand his legacies to be, ask my brother has said, is simply free senior high school. Look, I come from the north. What people remember on Nkrumah of all these years is about the partial free education that he gave to the northern sector. When I say partial, people will understand. Even that, it educated so many people, including former President John Mahama himself. That's a legacy people will remember Nkrumah for. President Akufo-Addo has brought free senior high school to this country, which everybody which will live long, generation upon generation. That's a legacy he's talking about. By the way, this legacy that he's talking, even if you take one legacy of President Akufo-Addo, former President Mahama, Akufo-Addo can say that he cannot entrust free senior high school in his hands. He can say that, can't he? There's a reason.
What's the reason?
This is a man who has been flip-flopping on the matter.
How?
First of all, you just pick your phone and Google and see that I will not spend 2 billion cedis on free senior high school alone. If I'm the president, you will see it. Who said that? So what is the guarantee that if you hand over free senior high school, you come and spend the billions on free senior high school? This is somebody, I was a daily guide. The sort of adverts 2016 that they did against free senior high school, NDC as a political party, which he led. He was in government. Free senior high school, the sort of adverts. And they went on a procession that free CS is 419, free SHS 419.
Well, they said they didn't believe at the time that President Akufo-Addo would implement it if he becomes president. That was political talk, isn't it?
They didn't believe. They said it is not implementable.
Yes.
You want me to quote?
Isn't it this akin to what the MPP is saying now that President Mahama's
They say-
24-hour
Oh,
economy
there's a
not
difference.
implemented.
they say-
There's completely,
they-
there's
they-
completely,
they
it's not
say-
a political
Because
talk.
if somebody
Lantam,
says that,
don't go
Lantam,
there.
come and
Lantam,
do
don't
this,
go
the
there.
other person comes and
Lantam,
comes,
Lantam, don't go
if
there.
you come, you can't
Don't go
do
there.
it.
Don't
It's
go
not
there.
just
It is not a political
talk.
talk.
So
It
then
is
what
not.
was it?
Lantam.
It is
Because
not
it
a
was
political
campaigning.
talk.
It was campaigning.
It is
period.
not.
Lantam.
After that they were sponsored
So
and all
if
of that.
anything,
It's not a campaign.
It is political talk. When it comes to politics, you have lost your head.
it is, yes, maybe, probably so.
It's political talk.
look,
so you- when it comes to
If it is
politics,
political, so
Google
something
your
that
brains.
education minister, then education minister, late, Leokran, he said it is not possible. If it was possible, Nkrumah would have done it for this country. And it would take 20 years for it to be done. Now it is done. You want to hand it over to somebody who doesn't believe in it? A political party that doesn't
Well,
believe
people
it.
are calling for a review of the free SHS policy because
But
it's been fraught
you see-
with problems.
But you see, I have said that, look, there is no system in this unit under this F that will not need review. Even when you are improving, you need to improve more. Even when you are doing well, you always need to be
Yes.
better, and be the best. So that kind of review, it is no problem at all. Look, who said there are no challenges with free senior high school? There are challenges. Everybody knows that. But you want to entrust it to somebody who doesn't believe in how its workability. You want to entrust that to somebody like that. And you want somebody who is bringing the person, who has brought the policy and is improving on it. You want the person to leave it to another person. You think that the person who has brought it cannot improve on it? The person who has the ideas and all that to implement the policy has
Right.
no idea on how to improve on it.
Okay.
So when you talk about legacies, I am saying that if it is about corruption, former President Mahama will not pass. Like many other governments from Nkrumah's legacy, Nkrumah's time, sorry. Every government or what or another even
Hard corruption.
had corruption. And in fact, it brings on corruption that there have been military coups in this country. And when they come, they become worse. So if it is about corruption,
But
he will
former
not
President Mahama is trying to say that this government is more corrupt than his
more
was.
corrupt.
than
You
his
want to
own
go
was.
there. I think there should be a topic on this
I mean,
corruption
because
matter.
they will
so
say
we can
that
dey-
their worst performance at the corruption perception index is the best performance of this government.
You see,
They will always
you
go
see,
to that.
You see,
And that is fact.
I know all that. I
Yes.
know that the
Yes.
corruption. You
Yes.
see, that's why we say perception. But what is the reality on the ground? The
What is the
reality is
reality?
that some leaders of this country have been involved in corrupt practices. That's the reality.
Yes.
If you want us, one day we'll come and debate the issues.
We can do that.
We can debate the issues.
Misgovernance. He
If
also
it is-
talks
if
about,
it-
so he says corruption, misgovernance.
If
He
it is
says
about
misgovernance.
unemployment, where did we form?
He says
Have you heard of
arrogance.
Unemployment
He
Graduates
says
Association in this country?
ineptitude. He says bankrupt economy. He says increased unemployment and pushing more of our
Bankrupt
people
economy. What
into the
ya
poverty
sama
bracket.
say Yahweh nam nyina ka don't pay.
The
Have
meat
you
has
heard
been
that?
eaten to the bone.
To the bone. Who said that? Who said that? I am asking you. Even though you are the moderator, who
Yes.
said that?
You know who said it.
So I am saying that if it is about these legacies that he mentioned, he as a person,
Okay.
if President Akufo-Addo will not pass,
He too, he will not pass.
He will not pass.
Okay.
And
Uncle
that
Ken.
is my argument.
Let-
All
let
of
me-
them
let me come
will
to
not
you now.
pass. But
Uncle
when
Ken.
you talk of legacy, it is not about corruption. It's not,
Alright.
who wants corruption to be his legacy?
Okay,
Who?
Uncle Ken. So John Mahama says, of course, I will not protect your legacy of corruption, misgovernance, arrogance, ineptitude, bankrupt economy, increased unemployment, and pushing more of our people into the poverty bracket. That's why he believes is the legacy
The two of them, they
President.
remind me of Yenya Yabro Pepe.
That's why I said, none may win. None of them may win.
Yenya Yabro Pepe. You see, I think that we are being so insincere with the people of Ghana. So insincere that, and sometimes I blame the people of Ghana as well, because you see, we must have a higher expectation of our political institutions. A lady is giving the management of a fund that is supposed to assist the very poorest in our nation, the very poorest. She loots the funds under the administration of a government that a court of law in our country says that this lady ought to be jailed. And there is a judicial decision that is taken. As I speak to you today, and I can be educated, the National Democratic Congress has not found it necessary to issue a statement to say that, as for this one, where the courts of Ghana have spoken, we apologize. And then you have the leader of that institution having, I was going to say balls, apologize, I won't use the word balls, having the temerity, the nerve to declaim on corruption. To declaim on corruption. Because, talk is cheap.
There were short memories.
Can be. But how dare he talk about corruption? You gave an institution to a whole lady, he stole billions of cedis.
And that institution was under his office.
You don't apologize.
That's lock under presidency.
You don't apologize. And you are talking about corruption.
So you're saying former President John Mahama has no moral right?
He has no right
to talk about corruption.
No right.
As for corruption,
he is no right. You know, there are some green, is it green and blue, yellow buses on our streets. They are yellow.
Yes.
Go and ask questions about the conditions around the procurement of those buses. Mm-hmm. The Marco Polo buses. Go and ask. And he's talking about corruption. I'm saying that.
So I'm saying even if there's corruption going on, because he
I'm
himself
saying
is corrupt.
that. I'm saying that.
Is it
I'm saying that. You see,
he who is without sin, let him be the
when
first
you
to
said,
no.
when you said
is that what you're talking about?
You can talk about it.
Remove the log in your
but
eye.
But he wants to
lead
this country again. He wants to lead again.
You are, as we speak, the National Democratic Congress is busy telling the people of Ghana to give them power, that they will handle the nation better. Our judicial system is saying that when you had power, one of you, and you had control, one of you stole millions, recognized in the judgment of a high court in our country. You have not found it necessary to talk about that. Because I think that the first thing you should do, apologize. That this thing that happened, we think we were wrong, we erred, we will not allow it to.
So John Mahama should apologize for what's the name?
Sedinam
Tamaku. John Mahama should apologize.
Yes, the NDC. Yes. It has
even though a court of competent jurisdiction has tried and sentenced it.
Yes, it has institutional responsibility. It is a record. It happened.
So the NDC should apologize.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
We should expect a higher standard from
specifically the former president, because the lady was under.
Yes, we should expect a higher standard from these political institutions. Otherwise, haywire, everything can go.
Okay.
You see, legacy. Me sitting here, if I had management of the free SHS, I would review it immediately.
Yeah.
You see, that ball, that free SHS ball, as soon as you throw it into the economy of Ghana, everything becomes dislocated. It is huge.
You mean the budget?
The budget for it. Okay. And then the focus of the budget of it. You see, the free SHS is an educational policy. Is that not so?
Yes.
I have always argued that we also ought to look at it as an economic tool. Because if you do the division, the last time, I don't remember, the last time I did, we can, through the free SHS, send as much as 77, was it 7 million or 77 million, at least 7 million Ghana cedis every year into the districts. Through the procurement of food.
Yes. Yeah.
And other things.
Yeah.
And in my village, if you are sending 7 million cedis to Okankwe North or to where I come from, Tepa, I know what people can do with that type of money. You can have people then suddenly becoming major rice farmers, plantain farmers, a lot of things. It's to send a lot of growth to those areas. So we need to look at it, the free SHS, as an agri policy.
Yeah. Right.
As an economic policy. So it needs reform.
Yes.
We, the four of us sitting here, we have no business saying that children should go to secondary school for free. We can afford to
why?
pay.
Why?
Oh yes.
Why do we have? Why you say
See,
that?
I have a
coming,
problem with that.
I'm
Why you
If
say
you
that?
can- if you can borrow me your time, I have a problem
I'm
with that.
coming. I'm
Why
coming.
you say that, Akoke?
I think you can afford to
you
take
don't
it.
know the economic status
Sure.
of
You
see,
your,
but
of
there's-
your
You
there's
know,
an
he
aspect
doesn't
of-
know.
You are
He's
assuming.
a
There's an
big man.
aspect-
You are
there's the-
assuming.
There's an aspect of it
Sure.
where we politicians are very grateful to the Akufo-Addo government for the free SHS.
Hey, you are politicians.
Yes, we
We
politicians.
are not politicians.
You don't pay. People don't queue to
We are
come
not-
and
we are not
see
politicians.
Because the embarrassment of people coming and you have no money. You have no money. They come. And since it's transferred from free SHS, it's been taken to tertiary.
Yes.
They come with the letters. I've gotten admission for my child at Legon, please. And
Assistance.
They need assistance. So that one, politicians, MPP and DC have to be grateful for Akufo-Addo. But beyond free SHS, I lament the lost opportunities.
Before you give this, just 1 minute.
Of the
Before,
Akufo. You know, in 2001,
Yes, and you can land on that point so that I can come to IB
in
now.
2001,
Yes.
I went to the man I called my father, President Akufo-Addo. I went to him and I said, Nana, now after 2024, you'll be leaving. It is time for us to begin thinking about your legacy.
yeah.
And this morning, it seems that all that we can talk about free SHS.
So that's his legacy.
That is what it may turn down to be. And that
All right.
one, the benefits and it to be debatable. We could have done so many, much more. Classic example, the planting for food and jobs. People are being paid 2,000 Ghana cedis a month in this country. You are aware.
Yes, less, far less.
You're far less. People
far
are being
less,
paid.
yes,
But
far.
if you see, if I can feed my family with 10 cedis a day, 500 Ghana cedis is not a small salary. So if we had concentrated on making just food cheap, you can afford to eat to your fill on small sums of money. Everybody overnight becomes very rich. And we have people who are ready, like myself, to farm.
So you believe that there's a legacy of free SHS, but there were also some missed opportunities.
Major.
All right.
There are some
IB.
of them.
All right, IB. Let me
conclude on this one. Some of them.
Because we are.
Let me conclude
Yes.
on some of them.
Yes,
Some
okay.
of them.
He said-
Some of them. I just imagine, and I wish we had worked harder on them. Like the railway,
Yes.
fantastic.
Okay.
Fantastic.
All right. Very well. Yes,
he's giving me 1 minute to talk about this.
He doesn't have the right to give you one
Okay,
minute. I
I'm
have the
begging.
right
I'm
to give you
I'm
1 minute.
pleading with you.
But-
I'm
but-
pleading with you.
Okay, good.
People talk about some can pay and some cannot pay. I'm on record in this studio to have said that let's develop a website and say that every Ghanaian who thinks that he wants to pay his own school fees.
Nobody will go there. Nobody
So
will
what
go
is this hypocrisy that we are talking about?
Okay. Everybody likes
I am
free.
saying that, look,
Even
I
the
have
rich. Everybody
challenges
likes free.
with some aspects of free senior high school.
Yes.
Look, in terms of feeding, I don't see why. The reason why the shortage of food is not like sometimes it's sabotage. Why don't you allow the schools themselves give them money to procure the food items from buffer?
I mean, all of that will come under a review.
Yes.
I mean, all of
so
this. But
those
IB,
are the little
IB,
things that we should be looking at,
well,
not the whole
IB,
policy.
well, IB,
I
let's
didn't
say
say
your-
about
your
let some other pay,
contribution
some
to
people do
this
not pay.
discussion. Very
Yeah,
fine. at the end. Then we'll wrap it- then
the
we'll wrap it up.
president and like so.
You
Okay,
will
so
pay.
so
You can
there's
afford.
genesis to why the president has
probably-
been speaking the way he's speaking.
Yes.
The president has been consistent. I won't hand over power to somebody I defeated twice. Blah. He's been very consistent, and there's a reason. There's a history to this. When the president, then candidate Akufo-Addo, lost in 2008, his people heaped the blame, a chunk of the blame, on President Kufuor, that he did very little to ensure that the party retained power. Subsequently, people like Mustafa Hamid wrote articles. I'm sure by then he was working at Daily Guide. Those articles were published, right? Scathing attacks on President Kufuor as to what he did and why he didn't do. If you realize, when the country was headed for time for the final lap, President Kufuor and his entourage, they were on their way there. Things that were said angered him and then he returned. So the president was never at time, even though Afarijan had directed the entire nation to go there for the final lap. President Akufo-Addo, knowing that, is now doing everything possible to assure the party that I'm not just saying, I'm doing everything possible to ensure that at least I hand over power to our own or to ourselves.
You have to win first.
That one is understandable. The president made a political statement and he's gotten a political reaction from the former president. You were saying that the former president will come and destroy your legacies. The former president is saying that there's nothing to write home about your legacy in the first place. So you don't expect me to come and continue them. And he lists those ones that he thinks he will destroy. And they are all in the negatives.
But
right? They are all in the negatives.
You're also repeating. But did Akufo-Addo say his legacy is corruption? Did he say that?
Oh, no, you didn't have to say that. In political communication,
your mama is not at liberty
to cite those things.
Things that are complimentary about Akufo-Addo.
That's the point.
He's worse off mentioning those things. He's worse off.
See, the point.
Get a day for us to talk on corruption in this country.
See, the point we are making is that when it comes to corruption, your ability to deal with corruption within your government, to me, is the biggest measuring rod. And so far, we are not seeing that. When reports are made, adverse findings are made about your own people. I've said, when we're talking about special prosecutor, what did I tell you? The easiest people to prosecute are the people in opposition. Line them up, and just slap the charges. At best, there are people who go and then galvanize support for them. After 3 months, that will fade out and prosecute them. If you don't even succeed in jailing them, they will have BP, high blood pressure. You seize their passport. Their business interests will suffer. It's easy. That's the easiest. The most difficult one is dealing with the people within, and that we've not seen. That's a fact.
Across board.
Yes. We've not seen. But of course, then DC will point to Abu Gapele.
They'll point to Abu Gapele.
They will point to Abu Gapele.
And there are people who point yes. They will point to Jifar Tifo and the background and all of those. They'll point to all of those. Yes. So
that is why I'm saying that if you mention these things, because there's no time. You have gone to areas that we cannot. No, but look, I am saying that this vice versa in this country. There's no history.
That's your opinion.
The only history or people's jail for stealing is NDC in this country, history of this country.
Please allow IB to make his point.
You go and mention transaction if
I want IB to make his point. I will do. Calm down.
So the point I'm making is that when it comes to corruption, collectively as a nation, we've not done well. We've not. And that's the reality. Now, back to what the president said. He said the former president doesn't like him. He said that. And that he doesn't like what he does. So when he comes, he will destroy it. Like I said, it was on a political platform. That's politics. John Mahama is equally allowed to respond in the measure and manner he has responded. That yes, I won't protect your negative legacies. I agree that when you talk about the president and his legacy, it's free SHS. For that, even a child you sleeping and you wake him or her up will say that it's free SHS. Is there a problem with the policy? Yes. Does everybody admit that there's a problem with the policy? Yes. Does it need fine-tuning? Yes. Can any president tomorrow cancel free SHS? No. I'm telling you, no. Everything that is being thrown out there about this person will cancel is politics, is propaganda. No president can cancel free SHS. Because the NDC guys will point to you that they started free progressive senior high school. Yes. That Edutum came to parliament to say that there was a debt that this government had to come and pay for. At least that means that there was something that government needed to pay for. Right? So, for the politics, let's allow it to be done. I like how the president has departed from our own handover power. Because now he goes and offers further explanation that this is why the only one who can protect my legacy will be the vice president and the party's flag bearer. That's campaign. That's allowed to happen. And I've given you the genesis of why the president is speaking the way he's speaking. If the party should lose, nobody will blame Akufo-Addo that you didn't do enough. Unlike what was done to former President Akufo. That's basic. We don't have time. So,
you mentioned G5 before. It's Charles Edubwahi. Is he a member of NDC?
Let's
you mentioned G5 Tivo. Is Edubwahi? Is he a member of NDC?
Let's wrap up now. Thank you very much.
Dismissal, not resignation.
Kuranchie is managing editor.
People were sent to Jubilee House and they found guilty.
Well, Awudu
From our
Mahama
practices.
is
They were
managing
sent to
editor,
Jubilee House to work
Custodian
there.
newspaper. Awudu, your mic is off. Custodian newspaper. And Ibrahim Alhassan is head of political desk here at GHOne TV and Star FM. Thank you very much, gentlemen.